Sometimes you fly halfway around the world to see something and it's closed. This was the case for this postcard that I received of the Red Fort from Old Delhi. When we got there, it was all closed up. There was no way we were going to be able to get in to see and film this amazing structure. But it was the start of an incredibly impressive journey that led me to a lot of places that I will never forget. It all started on the street next to the incredibly beautiful Red Fort. The Red Fort started in 1638. Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan took 10 years to construct what would be the new Indian capital seat, which it remained until 1857, when power was transferred to the British Raj. To take us from the Red Fort to our next destination, we got to do the quintessential Indian form of transportation, a rickshaw ride. And sometimes a bicycle rickshaw, the ride is not necessarily the entertainment, it's your driver. It's better that you just experience a bicycle rickshaw ride rather than me telling you about it. It's definitely something that'll be remembered. Jama Masjid is the largest mosque in all of India, and it can accommodate 25,000 worshippers at maximum capacity. It's only a mere 500 meters from the Red Fort, and if you've never set foot in a mosque before, I cannot think of a more intriguing, stunning, and appealing introduction to a Muslim house of worship. Varanasi is one of the world's oldest continuously inhabited cities, and it's a cultural capital of India. Varanasi lies on the holiest of holy rivers, the Ganges. Hindus, Buddhists, and Jains regard Varanasi as a powerful religious center. This is the place to witness Indian culture in the raw. I would characterize Varanasi as the beating heart of India. While in Varanasi, we took a cruise out onto the Ganges with some authentic Indian music to watch the ritual of the Aarti, a fire ceremony on the ghats of the Ganges, marking a holy Hindu ceremony. The 5 performers face the mother goddess Ganges, symbolizing ether, wind, fire, water, and earth. I couldn't leave this holiest of holy cities without taking a dip in the mother goddess herself. A ceremonial submersion in the Ganges River is said to cleanse the body of all its sins. It really is a powerful experience and one of those things you absolutely have to do when you're in India. Our time in India coincided with wedding season. And if you can't get an invite to one, maybe you'll be lucky enough to catch a glimpse on the streets. They are incredibly impressive and by all measures greatly outdo any Western wedding. This is the monument which requires no introduction. It's been quoted as the jewel of Muslim art in India and one of the universally admired masterpieces of world's heritage. The Taj Mahal has no equal. The grand white marble dome is in fact the apex of an enormous mausoleum containing the final resting place of Shah Jahan and his beloved wife, Taj Mahal. This is the ultimate monument to love, and is more than just a tomb. The gardens, mosque, gates, bazaars, minarets, and museum make for a full-day experience. And one of the most impressive things is to watch the magical color change of the Taj from morning to evening, or from cloud to sun. 23 miles to the west of Agra's Taj is Fatehpur Sikri, the city of victory, built by the grandfather of Shah Jahan, Emperor Akbar. The late 16th century walled city stood as the Mughal capital for a mere 10 years, on the site of the birth of Akbar's son, Jahangir. To say it's impressive is a gross understatement. It's absolutely amazing to walk around and see all of the preserved structures from so long ago. And the history is so incredibly intriguing. If you can, get a guide to be able to tell you all of the stories and the little vignettes of each of the buildings and the full story of Fatehpur Sikri itself. Further to the west is the Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary, which is a World Heritage Site. It was created 250 years ago as a hunting preserve for the Maharajas. Now there are over 300 species of birds that make a home permanently or part-time in the park. It's considered one of Asia's best bird-watching sites. The sanctuary actually came into being as a man-made wetland built to prevent the flooding of the nearby city of Bharatpur. It's a winter breeding ground for so many migratory birds. There are literally dozens of different shopping experiences that await you in India. Everything from the posh and extreme showroom display to street hawkers selling every manner of goods. You can be approached for a sale basically anywhere at any time. And haggling is absolutely a must. So if you don't know how, it's time to learn. Honestly, India can be at sometimes overwhelming, but it's definitely not lacking in little pockets of luxury. The Tree of Life, for example, is an oasis separated from the city of Jaipur. You can live in this magnificent space probably for a little bit too long. One of my favorite places in India is the Amber Palace, or Amir Fort, which is 7 miles north of Jaipur in Rajasthan. It's so popular, it gets 5,000 visitors daily, but only a handful of them decide to do what we did, which was take the elephant ride from the base to the top of the fort to begin our journey. There are 4 main sections of the Amir Fort, but one of the best things to do is just go exploring on your own, and you'll find that there's a complete maze of places to see, little gems here and there. It's a really great place to just get lost in Indian history. No one should leave India without at least attempting to take a train journey. India has the 3rd largest rail network in the world, and it's an experience unlike any other that you can find in any other country. Sometimes subtle, sometimes simple, sometimes it's harrowing and ridiculous. But one thing it will never be is boring. I'm not exaggerating when I say that Indian cuisine is one of humanity's most incredible creations. I've been so spoiled by eating in India that I stopped eating Indian food anywhere else. Fair warning that this is a personal opinion, but I believe you can pull over to the side of the road to an Indian dhaba and get a meal that is as good or better than some of the best Indian restaurants in New York. The food is essentially my second favorite thing about India. But my favorite thing about India is exactly what happened: the wealth of experiences. I set out to see the Red Fort from this postcard, and even though that didn't happen, we did all of the things that I just talked about in a mere 7 days. It will never cease to amaze me how India can produce such incredibly varied and exotic experiences in a relatively small period of time.